The woman found a piece of gold during a casual walk after getting pregnant. In the mall, she drew a random prize and won a luxurious Ferrari sports car. Yet even though the baby brought such astonishing fortune, her CEO husband still disliked that she was carrying a daughter and demanded a divorce, only because his secretary was already pregnant with his child and it was confirmed to be a boy. As the woman stood there completely lost, she suddenly heard the voice of the baby in her belly, saying that it was the god of wealth and could not believe it was being disliked. While the mother was stunned, the baby spoke again, saying that with it around she could make money hundreds of times more than the CEO. Seeing the woman hesitate, the man said the compensation could still be discussed, but she must agree to the divorce. Little did he know she was carrying a tiny god of wealth, one who came to the human world only because it lost a bet with the heavenly gods. Although the woman was unsure whether the baby was telling the truth, she refused to let anyone harm the child, so she decisively tore up the divorce agreement, and said divorce was fine but the child must stay with her. Seeing his usually weak wife dare to resist, the man immediately ordered his people to freeze all her bank cards. He believed that once she hit a dead end she would agree to his demands. Yet only moments after he left, the baby told the woman to open the drawer beside her. Inside was an old phone and the $100,000 she had saved before. Next, the baby told her to invest all the money into a certain stock. But when the woman saw that the stock had been falling for a full week, she became uncertain and hesitant. After all, that $100,000 was her only living expense. But the baby firmly said it would double when the market opened the next day. With no one else to rely on, the woman decided to trust the baby just once, so she invested everything. Her action was soon reported to the man by his assistant. The man looked at the stock chart convinced she would lose everything and come begging. But he never expected that when the market opened the next day, the garbage stock actually surged. The woman's money doubled in just one day and became $200,000. At that moment she fully believed the baby was truly a little god of wealth. But this small amount was only an appetizer the baby gifted her. Its goal was to help its mother become the richest person. Yet the man still thought the woman was just lucky. He wanted to see how long luck could keep her going. Over the next 3 days the same stock earned her $500,000. Now she no longer had to worry about basic living. Then the baby told her to look into a technology company. Although it was currently ignored by everyone, within half a month its breakthrough technology would skyrocket, and its stock price would rise 100 times. But the woman only had $500,000, which was far from enough to buy their shares, so she had no choice but to sell all her jewelry and designer bags. However, after checking everything, the buyer regretfully said all items had her husband's family emblem, and her husband had already announced they would no longer buy them back. Only then did the woman realize her husband never wanted her to own anything of her own from the very beginning. 3 years of marriage had been a cruel joke. Just as she was turning to leave, the man walked into the shop, mocking that she finally could not hold on and came to sell off her belongings. But the woman said she was not selling, she was throwing out trash, leaving the man speechless with anger. Yet she still had no idea where else she could find money. While she was completely frustrated, she saw a flyer for a stone gambling auction on the ground. The little god of wealth would surely make a fortune there. Unexpectedly, as soon as she entered the auction, she saw the man with his pregnant secretary. The man assumed the woman followed him to ask for money. The secretary, wanting her to look pathetic, deliberately said the woman was probably here to find rich men. Before the woman could speak, the mother-in-law appeared and mocked her, saying the secretary was now the family's lucky star, and that the company's stock had risen ever since she became pregnant. But they did not know the luck came from the little god of wealth in the woman's belly. Once the divorce was final, all that fortune would disappear. The woman did not want to waste time on them, so she walked past them and entered the auction. Soon the first item started at $800,000. The secretary quickly gasped, telling the mother-in-law that the baby just kicked her. The mother-in-law believed the little god of wealth was giving a sign, and insisted the stone must contain great material, so she immediately bought it for $800,000. Once cut open, it revealed rare jade and was sold for $2 million. This made the mother-in-law even more convinced the secretary carried the true god of wealth. The secretary proudly boasted to the woman, saying this was real good fortune. Hearing this, the baby gently comforted its mother, telling her not to worry. The truly valuable stones were still ahead. One jade stone after another was bought while the woman still made no move. The mother-in-law and secretary were certain she was just pretending. But then a black stone was pushed out. Starting price $50,000. Everyone laughed, saying it was worthless waste. The baby quietly told the woman the stone was worth hundreds of millions. So the woman raised her paddle and bid $50,000. The secretary believed the stone was trash, but she still did not want the woman to feel good. So she raised the bid to $300,000. The woman grit her teeth and followed with $50,000. That was already all the money she had. Any further and she would need a loan. Seeing her struggle, the secretary raised her hand again and called out $200,000. Then mocked the woman, asking if she was out of money. The woman knew she had nothing left and nearly gave up, but the baby told her to trust it. Hearing this, she stopped hesitating and raised her paddle with $300,000. The man was furious. Since they were not divorced yet, he did not want to cover her losses, and the secretary feared if she raised the price again the woman might stop. So she pretended generously to let the woman have the stone, and the woman won the so-called worthless stone for $300,000. Everyone thought she acted irrationally because of her argument with the secretary. She could only ask the master to cut the stone quickly. After the first cut, there was nothing. The laughter around her grew louder, yet she firmly told the master to continue. After another cut, it still was nowhere near worth $300,000. At that moment, the baby told her to cut from the center. The master warned that if nothing was inside, the entire stone would be ruined. Facing the cold mockery from her husband and the scheming secretary, the woman unwaveringly chose to trust her baby. As the machine started, everyone present was stunned.